Yes, Jenna, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Hi, how are you doing, Jenna?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm also doing great. Thank you very much. So let's wait a few minutes just our viewers can receive notifications and will join us.
Sounds
It takes
great.
some time. How's your mood today?
Good. I'm excited to be here. I was thinking about it all night. I'm like, let's see what's going to happen.
Great. Mhm. Yes, our first viewers join us. Good evening, dear friends, Bishkek American Center followers. I hope you're all doing great. Thank you very much for joining and watching our session. And I am very excited to introduce our guest speaker today, Jenna Henry. She is a horse and corgi lover, mom, craft, and quilter. In 2012, Jenna visited Kyrgyzstan with the American team of US Rodeo Cowboys team, who were invited by Bishkek US Embassy's cultural exchange program. So today she will tell more about herself at today's virtual program about South Carolina. Thank you very much, Jenna, for accepting the invitation and being our guest speaker today. We're really happy to have you. And I want to kindly remind to our viewers, don't forget to ask your questions and leave your comments under this video. And after the presentation, Jenna will answer them. So the floor is yours, Jenna.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Henry. Like I said, I was able to visit Kyrgyzstan back in 2012, and I'm actually still talking about it to this day. It's been my favorite trip I've been on. And we were able to tour your beautiful country and play some of your horse games, Koparu and the kissing game. I remember the kissing game with the horses, and I still have my whip picture.
Wow.
Everyone can see that. I can bring it closer later if you need me to. But yeah, so I have been a fan of everybody for a while with this, and I currently reside in South Carolina. When I had originally come to Kyrgyzstan, I was actually living in California. I was born and raised in Colorado, and I have lived in three other states, Minnesota, Utah, and Virginia since then. So kind of been traveling around the country, driven through most of the other states as well. Grew up basically around animals my whole life, around horses and different kinds, dogs, pigs, you name it. That's why I came over with the rodeo. And now my husband is in the military, so that's why we move around so much here in the U.S. My daughter is 6 years old, and she's lived in 5 states, so she's well traveled as well at only 6 years old. So, all right, if you're ready, we can jump into this. Talk a little bit about South Carolina.
Here's the presentation.
All right, so that was just South Carolina. It's kind of a funky state shape, and these are actually pictures from back in 2012 when I came, and we put on a couple rodeos all around. It was one of the best times I've had. So hopefully some of you maybe were around and saw it back then. Came to one of the events we did. All right, we can move on. So that little red dot in that picture on the right, that is Beaufort, South Carolina. That is currently where I am coming to you live from. It is right over the border from Georgia. If you have heard a lot about South Carolina, you've probably heard of Charleston, South Carolina. That's about an hour north of me. And then Savannah, Georgia is about an hour south. So I'm directly right dab in the middle. Right now, that's where the hurricanes tend to like to head as well. So hopefully this one coming at us will miss us. But South Carolina was one of the original 13 colonies that formed in the United States. So kind of cool. Other random facts that aren't on here is they refer to it as the low country, and that is because we actually sit below sea level. This is kind of funny to think about. We ride our bikes around town and you see the signs that you're now at 10 feet. And I'm like, woohoo, we finally broke the line there. So that's just kind of to give you some logistics of where I'm at right now. So we can go to the next one. So I started off with some history. So South Carolina was the first state to ratify the Articles of the Confederation, and they voted to actually leave the Union, and that is what broke out in what we now know as the Civil War in the United States. So that is South Carolina for you. So we can jump to the next slide. And just some funny random laws here in South Carolina that, you know, they're still actually legal and on the books, but I don't think you would actually ever get in trouble for them if you were to get caught. But if a man proposes marriage to a woman by law, the marriage must take place. So hopefully if you say yes, you actually mean it. And then it's illegal to keep a horse in a bathtub. I don't know of any bathtubs around here that are large enough for a horse, but maybe they used to be that big, I guess, back in the day. And when approaching an intersection and with an automated vehicle, the driver must stop 100 feet from the intersection and fire a gun or a rifle to warn horse traffic. So it's funny that this is still on the books. However, in a lot of these low country and historic towns, they do still give these carriage rides. So this is actually a current picture. So if you ever come visit, you can take a historic carriage ride around town, and hopefully there won't be any crazy shots going off in the background, but you can definitely ride the carriages and hear all about the history of the Low Country. So we can go to the next one here. So this is the iconic view of what people think of when they hear South Carolina. It's kind of funny because when I hear South Carolina, I associate it with these old oak trees. And so the moss you see hanging off, that's called Spanish moss. And we have a trail here called the Spanish Moss Trail that you can just ride down. It's covered in these trees. However, the state tree is actually the palmetto tree. That's why we're known as the Palmetto State, and it's a palm tree. So it's kind of funny that no one actually really associates South Carolina with palm trees immediately. It comes after the oak trees. But yeah, there are lots of palm trees, and we have what are called palm forests right by the beach. So it'll be a beautiful sand beach, and then you'll see a palm forest, so it'll be a palm tree, and then random pine trees in there too, and they're all mixed together. So it's not like if you went to California or Florida and you just have those big palm trees and their coconuts. It's not like that at all. Bit of a different environment. So if we can jump to the next one. So this is actually a legendary angel oak tree. So this one hasn't been trimmed like the other ones were to go perfectly over the road in the mist. But this one is known as the angel oak, and it is over 500 years old and said to be the oldest living tree east of the Mississippi. And it is just north of me in Charleston. So it's kind of a famous tree. Lots of people, when they come down, they like to take pictures with it. And as you can see, it's really neat. Kind of one of those. Takes a while to get that big. So we can go to the next one. And so South Carolina is known for its shark tooth hunting. So we have really warm water here. If you were to go in the ocean right now, during the day it's around 100 degrees. Outside, the water is about 80. So it's really nice. It's not cold. I know if you go over to California or on the West Coast, the water stays pretty chilly. And over here, it actually gets really nice and clear and warm. So the sharks and the sea life love this area. In the November to about February timeframe, the great white sharks are always off the coast. They just hang out up there. So you can go on tours out there and catch one if you're brave enough. But one of the big draws here is walking up and down the beach is shark tooth hunting. And you can just find them all along the beach. So fun random fact, yesterday I happened to actually go on a shark tooth hunting adventure, and here's a few shells I can show you guys. These are ones that I personally found, so they're decent size. I don't know if you can see these pictures of them. And so they're from all different kinds of sharks. They say, from what I've learned, you may have seen shark teeth like in the store and they're white. Those are from sharks that have recently deceased. Any teeth you see that are black, they say take at least 10,000 years to turn black and then make their way to shore. So they've been floating around the ocean for a while. So I do have some other shells here if you want to see them really quick, just some giant ones. This is a giant clam shell. You can find these all over the beach. Some of these big conch shells. And this is called a shark eye, actually. It's like a big spiral. And then we have lots and lots of sand dollars. So here, these ones are actually dead, so they're white. You can take them, but they are, if you walk on the beach at a certain time, they'll come up out of the sand, the live ones. And they're a little fuzzy brown thing on the bottom. There's tons of little hairs where they grip into the sand. So I'd never seen a live one until I came here. But that's some of the best adventures. I know people come here just for shark tooth hunting, and you can find all kinds of things too. Like these are whale bones that have fossilized over the years, so you can see all the little grooves and stuff in there. So there's all kinds of sea life just washing right up on shore. So we can go to the next one. And so this is my favorite thing about South Carolina. I love sharks. And so the Megalodon, I don't know if you've heard of a Megalodon, but is the oldest shark that's supposed to be in, it's not around anymore, but their teeth are really hard to find. Here, if you want to find the big ones, like that make up that big jaws that you can see there in the picture, you have to actually dive for them in the dark. So they'll string up two boats with a diver in between, and they go down and they just go by feeling. And they throw a bunch of stuff into a bag, and they don't know till they get back on the boat. They dump it out and hope they have a tooth or something cool in there because it's pitch black and the river currents bring them in. But yesterday on my shark tooth hunt, I actually got lucky and I found a small one that was washed up on the beach. So it's about 2.5 inches. So some of the bigger ones can get up to 6 inches. So this slide here, it talks about the Smithsonian Museum up in Washington, D.C., and that's where you can view the life-size Megalodon. But the reason I included it in this is the actual jaws that you can see the young lady standing in is the mouthpiece of one, and all of those teeth were found here in South Carolina that are actually in the Smithsonian up there. So they're all South Carolinian teeth for that Megalodon. So, random fact there. And my other favorite thing are the sea turtles. So, sea turtles here, the most common we have in South Carolina are the loggerheads. And they come up and they nest every 2 years. And so the mamas just hang out off the coast. If you have a boat, you can go out there and hopefully see one. And they come up every couple days and they lay their nest and make their way back to the ocean. So we do have a few green turtles and leatherbacks and then Kemp's Ridley, but mostly they're the loggerheads here. So that's a loggerhead mama making her way back to the sea. And then the little pictures are the little guys when they hatch. So if you're lucky enough, I haven't been lucky enough yet, but you can see the mamas going back to the water. You get out to the beach early enough in the morning, but I have seen the little babies hatch when they come out. It's called a boil, and there's usually around 100 to 120 babies in each nest, and they just it looks like water boiling as they come out of the nest, and they make their way to the ocean before anything gets them. So it's a pretty fun thing to see around here too, with turtles and sharks. All right, another random fact here, and for all of the U.S. is South Carolina is the only state that grows tea. Otherwise, we have to import all of our tea in the U.S. from other countries. So you can see from China, Kenya, and Indonesia, but Charleston is the only one. If you want anything in the U.S., tea from the U.S., you got to get it from Charleston. So the Sweetgrass Basketry, and this is really neat. If you come out to South Carolina, you can just be driving down the road and you'll see individuals sitting on the side of the road and they're just making these baskets. And so it's one of the oldest crafts brought over from the African origin, and they take the marsh grass here, and it's very specific to the grasses that grow here in these swamps because how the water comes in and the tides go out. So they go out at the right time and they cut it down and dry it out and do everything, and then they'll literally make you a basket right there on the side of the road, which I thought was kind of cool. When I was in Kyrgyzstan, I know we stopped and we had some of the horse milk and everything that you guys have on the side of the road. So I just wanted to bring that in and incorporate it in, as this is what we have if you were to travel along the roads and you could get. So it does have a history back into the days back when there was slavery and plantations here, but it's just kind of neat that they're keeping the tradition alive and you can still go out and find those. All right, let's roll to the next slide. So I think this is my last slide here, but I don't know if any of you have seen very many American movies, but a lot of them are filmed here in South Carolina because we have such the diverse climate. Like I was talking about the trees, we have the palm trees, the oak trees, and regular trees. So the top picture on the left is actually Forrest Gump when he runs over the bridge, and I have to pass through that bridge every day when I go into town. So it is not in Mississippi, it is actually in South Carolina. And then on the right, Prince of Tides, that old movie with Barbara Streisand, was filmed here. And they have the old boat that's wrecked that you can come see and go on the new Prince of Tides if you want to tour it and go around town. And then I just included a picture from the bottom. That's from the Notebook, if anyone is a Notebook fan. And the plantations that all the big scenes in that, you can actually go tour those and visit them. So that's where I'm going for Halloween this year, to the pumpkin patch, is to the Notebook plantation. But I believe that's everything I've got. Sorry, I talk kind of fast. I apologize.
No, it's okay, Jenna. Thank you very much. It was really incredible and amazing presentation. Thank you for wonderful journey to South Carolina. Thank you very much, Jenna. So I want to check the comments and questions. Does South Carolina have special slang which is used only in this state?
They do. There's a couple different. So you've got the locals that have kind of been around here forever. And I think we were chatting about this before it started. Like where I live, it's called Beaufort. But some of the people that have been around for a while, they'll call it Beaufort or Beaufort, or I mean, they just pronounce it all different ways. And then we also have down on a couple of the outskirt islands, they're called the Gullah tribe, and they're actually direct descendants from South Africa. And when they came over, they've kept a lot of their heritage. So they have a whole language that, I mean, I couldn't even begin to understand, but they keep that alive and well. So there are a couple different languages around here.
Cool. Great. Thank you, Jenna. So everyone here is very excited about shark tooth hunting.
Yeah, it's very addictive.
Something new and unique thing. Yes. So the next question for you, Jenna. What does the name South Carolina mean?
Oh gosh, I should know that. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. I know there's a North Carolina too, so they evidently divided them up by that, but I'm not sure. I can look it up for you if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we can check it maybe later. Oh, would you like to check it now, Jenna?
Yeah, I can check it now. Let me buy it over here.
Oh, yes, dear friends, don't forget to ask your questions. So it's a great opportunity for all of you to know more about South Carolina.
I'll move it over here so you don't see me staring funny at your screen over here.
Yes. How to spell like South Carolina? I'm always like calling it like South Carolina. When you like saying it like South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina. We'll see what I just typed something completely wrong, so we'll see what it ends up coming up with here. But it might be quicker on my phone here.
And it was like very interesting fact to know that South Carolina is having tea.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and it's the hot tea too. So in the South in the U.S., you'll hear people when they talk about tea, you hear iced tea or sweet tea, and this is actual tea that you would get anywhere in the world tea. All right, so it says that South Carolina is named in honor of King Charles I of England, who was he was one of the ones that formed the two colonies, so North Carolina and South Carolina. So Carolus is Latin for Charles. So that's where it came from.
Great. Thank you, Jenna. The next question. Thank you very much for joining to share about your home state. How do you spend your time now during quarantine?
So we were very lucky during this quarantine is they only shut down the beaches for a month and then they opened it again. So I know even when I was in California, the beaches there are really crowded and you have to, put your umbrella and your chair out and there's people all around you. But here, the beaches around they're so wide, you can go and not have someone within, 500 feet of you. So I've spent a lot of time at the beach shark tooth hunting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jenna. The next question. Which is your favorite place in your hometown?
I love going. So in downtown Beaufort, if you were to drive over that bridge I told you about where Forrest Gump was filmed, it's the old town is there. So there's lots of shops, but it's so historic. They still have like cobblestone roads. It's not paved. And the moss trees are hanging over the road and they have a whole river walk you can go on. And it's just so laid back. It's calming. It's nice. It almost takes you away from the city when you're still in the city.
Yeah. Thank you, Jenna. Um, Please describe South Carolina in one word. The best word that describes very well the South
Oh, relaxing.
Carolina.
It's complete opposite of like New York and so my husband being in the military, that's what I mentioned. We move so often. We've been to a lot of places. So we were up in by Washington, D.C. before we came down here, and the traffic was terrible. And there's so many people. And down here, it's so laid back. You almost don't even know you're around a military town, except for the jets that fly over. So, but it's definitely relaxing compared to most places I've been.
Mm, yes, great. Thank you, Jenna. Um, the next question. We know that you are Miss Rodeo, Minnesota. When we think about rodeo, we usually imagine cowboys and lasso. What actually happens at a rodeo?
So in American rodeos, there's actually 7 different events, and 4 of them involve the lassos, or 3 of them involve the lassos and going after cows. The
Mhm.
other 3 are them actually riding the bucking horses and the bulls, and then the other event is for the females, and that's where the girls ride around the barrels for time. But it is basically a lot of cowboys and cowboy hats with the lassos trying to catch cows and do it in the quickest amount of time.
Yeah, that's great. Uh, yes, it's like something new for me also to know about rodeo. Thank you, Jenna, for sharing your experience. The next question, what is the best time to visit South Carolina?
So if you're going to come, I would say come in like April and May, because in the winter it can rain a lot and it gets
Mhm.
down to like 30 degrees, which I know isn't cold because for compared to what you guys are used to over there. And I grew up in Colorado, so to me 30 degrees is like a really warm day when you can start to wear shorts. But here it's cold. In the summer it gets really, really hot. So we've been around 100 degrees for the last couple weeks, but it's not a dry heat, it's really humid. So like I'll walk outside and my sunglasses will fog up because there's so much moisture in the air and you just instantly sweat. You can't do anything with your hair because it just instantly goes. So you
Mhm.
just put it back in a ponytail and go. So I would recommend April to May because you can see the turtles, find lots of shark teeth, and will be able to be outside and enjoy it without being too sweaty or too cold.
Super. Jenna, does South Carolina has 4 seasons?
Yes, we definitely do. So we don't, I've been told it snows here. I haven't witnessed it, but we've only been here for a little over a year. But supposedly it does snow. It gets down to in like the 20s, so it could. But otherwise, yep, we have all 4 seasons.
Mm, super. Thank you, Jenna. And next question. What ethnic minorities do you have in South Carolina?
So we have a large population of the Goa, like I said, and they are, unfortunately, they're a minority now because of everything that's happened in our past. But there's also, you have some Asians. We do have Hispanic. there's a lot of different variations around here. It's not just one or two. It's pretty diverse.
Cool. Thank you, Jenna. We have one more question. What is the most popular food in South Carolina?
Well, so we are right by the coast. So the people here love oysters and crab and shrimp. Lots of shrimp. So that's one thing I forgot to mention are the shrimp boats. If you're out on the beach, you can see the shrimp boats just going right by, picking up all the shrimp. So definitely seafood. Any type of seafood, you can get it here fresh.
Oh, that's definitely cool. When you live around the coast, you can have like fresh seafood.
Yep.
Um, Dear Jenna, could you please share your experience visiting Kyrgyzstan in 2012?
Yeah, so we came over, I believe there was 6 of us, and there were 2 cowgirls, myself and another young lady, Shannon, and then we brought 4 cowboys. And so we came over and we went to the embassy. We went and we put on a rodeo in downtown, and then we also went out. I'm probably going to slaughter it. Is it cool? The lake, the big lake you guys have?
Is it
And
cool?
yep, we went out there and we stayed for a couple days and put on a big rodeo. And in putting on the rodeo, we brought as much as we could. So we did like pop-up barrels to do the girl events, and we tried to do as many events from America, and then we participated in the events you guys do with horses. So that's where I got to do the kissing game, and I did get caught. My horse wasn't very fast, so I got kissed both times. And then the Cowboys played a Kokburu. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Yep. So we did that at both locations, and a bunch of other different games that they did, and it was really fun. We went and visited a couple. We came to the Bishkek corner there, and we visited you guys. I think I can show you my doll that I still have in here. So that's actually from the American corner.
Oh, really?
So,
National Kyrgyz dresses.
yes.
Kalpak.
Yes, and I loved all of the felt you guys had. So the felt hats and the vest and everything. So yeah, it was really fun. We were there for about 2 weeks, and so we enjoyed the food. You guys have amazing food over there, and yeah, it was a great time.
Favorite food in Kyrgyzstan?
I don't remember what it was. There's like the bread that you cook on the side of the. I can't remember. We went to the restaurant like 3 times because it was so good. The bread with this, and it had like sugar on it, maybe. I'm gonna maybe. I don't know. It was so good. They were like little donuts almost.
Mante maybe.
Yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I ate a lot of it. We'll just put it that way. I ate a lot. And we did go and ate. We went to a couple locations on the side of the road, and we did try the horse milk. That was good, and the cheese balls. Just trying new things that we don't have here, and we loved it.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jenna, for sharing your experience. We received a lot of comments. Let me read these comments. Wow, shark tooth hunting is so exciting. And oh my god, it's the biggest shark in the world. I had read about megalodons. And also, they're incredibly huge. They're so cute. Tea. I love tea. Literally can't live without it.
Yep.
And I love the coastal islands like Kiava.
Yep. We have a lot of coastal islands. Yep.
And what does mean Kiava? It's the name of the island.
Yep, I think that's the name of an island. So I actually live in Beaufort, but I live on an island. So that's why I have to go over the bridge every day. And then there's just islands all throughout South Carolina that you just hop on the bridges. During hurricanes, if you get out, you have to get out before they close the bridge. Otherwise, you're stuck and you can't, there's no way off the island. So.
Yes, great. Thank you, Jenna. Could you please share maybe Are there any similarities between Kyrgyzstan and South Carolina except horses?
Oh, well, the people are also nice and welcoming. I think that's a big thing. When we were over there, everyone was so excited and always willing to help us. And, they wanted to talk to us. So, and I know some places in America where you can walk down the street and no one will look at you. They're on their way. So the people are very similar in that they'll talk to you forever if you need help or ask a question. And then all the cute little shops, I think they're very proud here. I know in Kyrgyzstan, they're very proud of the things that they make and that they offer. And they do a lot of, like I said, the baskets on the side of the road and the different options just for opportunities that people have for themselves and different products. They want everyone to know what's great about South Carolina and share it just like the Kyrgyzstans did.
Oh, thank you, Jenna. We received one more comment like saying, "You are amazing, Jenna."
Well, thank you.
This was our last question, Jenna, for you. We were really happy to have you in our session. It was really interesting, informative, and very cool session. And we learned a lot of things, and particularly very interesting facts about South Carolina. Thank you very much, Jenna, for amazing session. And also, I would like to say thank you to our viewers who sent us their comments and questions. We are really happy to have you as our viewers. Like, you're always active and always supporting us. Thank you, everyone. So it's time to say goodbye. Please be safe, stay healthy, stay at home, and see you in our next sessions.
Thank you for having me, everyone.
Bye bye, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great evening.